Piglet turned and gestured for me to get up on the stage. You do it, Saki. Doesn't matter, I have to try. If we lose here, we'll never get my back. I stoop up straight and climbed onto the stage. Bring it on. You're gonna see my full force. Watch me get mad. I'm just gonna blow him up. I did my best to imitate Shirabe's stance and tried to calculate the distance between myself and the piglet, but I didn't really feel like a winner. Never been in a fight before, in any kind of fight. But if we lose here, then it's all over, so I'm gonna protect Shirabe and get my back. You can do this, Saki. The piglet seemed to be waiting for an opportunity to attack. I wasn't sure why. It couldn't have been more full of openings if I'd been Swiss cheese. Alright, well, how do we not die, Game Facts? We circle around to not die. If I can get around behind him. I tried to walk like Shirabe had and moved around the stage toward Piglet's back. Fortunately, he turned as I moved, and I realized I really should have thought things out a little better. There has to be an opening somewhere. If the piglet attacked me, it would be all over. I had to be careful, very careful. I've been so focused on the piglet that I hadn't been watching where you're going. She ringed herself out. Oh no! I tripped over, of all things, Shirabe's unconscious body. Piglet decided that was his opening. Oh dear. Electricity coursed through my body. The pain was so intense, I could feel myself beginning to black out. This pig's a dick. But hey, I mean, I guess it's like kind of dog-eat-dog, so if it wasn't me, it'd be him. Piglet didn't seem to be in the mood for mercy, though. I could see it walking towards me. I can't pass out now. If that happens, it's game over. Then I have to do something. I tried to move my arms, but they refused. Is this it? Is this the end? Oh! I heard the sound of arcing electricity. Shirabe? Piglet had been standing over me, collapsed. Ha! Take that! Dang! His hands were wrapped around the piglet's ankles. I don't think that'd be a legal move, but I couldn't let him hit you again. Piglet wasn't moving. Looks like we did it. I guess. You okay? No, not at all. And then I passed out. Don't even know what the heck is happening. Stage 4's over. Let's go home. That didn't go very well. We made it to stage 5 though. Oh, we're back here again. When I woke up again, my eyelids felt like they were made of lead. My head felt like someone had filled it full of especially sharp gravel. Hey, you're up. Shirabe, what's going on? That's right, I was fighting that piglet and it hit me and then I passed out. My gloves had been removed. Shirabe had taken off his coat and laid it over me. We won, right? Yeah, we did. Nodded firmly. That's good. Ah! Tried to get up, but when I did, my joints screamed in pain. Whoa there, little lady. Maybe you shouldn't be running around just yet. I owe you an apology, I think. I said I'd keep you safe, but then I let all this happen. Oh, come on, don't be like that. Like what? We're both safe now, and that's what matters. Besides, you did keep me safe. If you hadn't stopped the guy when you did, that goes both ways, you know. Then it was a victory won by both of us. Teamwork. Now you can respect me like I am also a person and not a child. That would be nice. He gave me a small, tight smile. Oh, how long has it been? Don't worry, he told us there's no time limit, remember? Besides, she's his leverage. He won't do anything to her. Guess you're right. Didn't feel right to try and go back to sleep, so I sat up and handed Shirabe's jacket back to him. Holy crap, so we're in stage 5 now. We're just going rogue. It is just me and Shirabe against the world. Like, screw the rest of the team, screw teamwork. I am really glad we did not do this storyline first, because that would have been awkward. I liked it much better the first time around. But we have subverted the entire story, going in an entirely different direction. We're not even doing the same games right. Thank you for the coat, it's very warm. Yeah, good to hear. Checked my phone and realized the day was already over. I passed out after we won, but when I came to, the piglets were already gone. It's past midnight. Yep, it is. Oh, it looks like Shido tried to call me a couple times. Probably got worried when we never showed up. They were probably all worried about us, in fact. I should call him back and let everyone know we're safe. No, we're in the middle of a game. If we call them, we break the rules, remember? Right. Until we'd beaten the game, we could only talk to each other. You should just focus on resting for right now. Who knows what other hoops he's gonna make us jump through. You're right. Also, we can't get back on the ship, so we can't go to bed. We can't go home. We also have no time limit for this game. So we could just... Oh, we can't leave the game once we started. These rules are dumb. Sat quietly at the corner of the stage for a while. Shirabe had said he felt restless, but it didn't take long for him to quiet down and close his eyes. Shirabe? What up? What was Hogstein talking about this afternoon when he said you were bothering some families? Ah, yes, that. Curious, I take it? Mm-hmm. Well, I've got you in this deep. I guess you have a right to know. I'd like to, if that's okay. He nodded and rubbed his forehead. Lay it on me, buddy. I can take it. This all happened right at the beginning of my career. It was about 12 years ago. A bus and a car collided in Kanedo. Just about everyone involved died, including a friend of mine. You could call him my mentor, if you felt like being poetic. Brilliant writer and journalist, full of passion. Sounds like an awesome dude! The whole thing was odd right from the start. See, the bus jumped the center divider for no apparent reason to collide with the other car, which was on the other side of the road. Then the bus turned over and both vehicles caught on fire. My mentor was on the bus with his wife. So they both... yeah. Anyway, the cops decided it was an accident and not something more malicious. They'd uncovered information that the driver had some sort of condition that caused him to lose it and swerve across the road. That's a weird defense that they didn't explain further. I think they're wrong. What do you mean? When it happened, my friend was going after some pretty dirty guys. Major corruption stuff. It would have been a huge story. A few days before the crash, he'd called me and told me he'd finally got the proof he needed. Sure, maybe it was just an unfortunate coincidence, but what if it wasn't? I couldn't get the thought out of my head, so I've spent the last 12 years trying to get to the bottom of it. Found anything? Nah, dead end after dead end. Really? It's like anything and everything relating to this whole mess was just burned off the face of the earth. But you know what? That just means I'm right. There is something going on. And I've gotten some real scrapes trying to figure out what it was. Including today. Eventually they paid off, and I got my hands on a document that said there had been a single eyewitness. Once I'd read through it, I was more convinced than ever that the crash was no accident. Someone had been trying to shut my friend up. Then I heard from someone who called himself M2. He told me that if I wanted to know the truth about the crash, I needed to come to the opening of this park. That's why you were here. Yeah, I figured it must seem kind of crazy to you to be chasing after the same thing for 12 years. But it's like, the longer I'm at it, the more I need to know the truth, and at this point, I don't think I could even give it up if I wanted to. Oh, 12 years, that's dedication. And it all started with the death of his friend. I couldn't even begin to imagine how hard that must have been. He seems kind of lonely sometimes. I wonder if that's why. Didn't know what to say. Hey, come on now, little lady, don't look so glum. Here, you want one? Held out some of his Pocky, and as I looked it over, I realized I hadn't eaten in over a day. We ate his snacks until we felt a little more full. Video game logic. Eat snacks, get full. So, he grabbed both pairs of gloves and stood up. I think I'm gonna have a look around. Oh, I'll go with you. Can you stand? Yeah, I'm all better now. So, all of that. We just got a whole bunch of exposition about what's going on with Shirabe. We already knew all of that. That's the part that we knew. Now, our biggest mystery is where does Hogstein lie in all of this? And how does he go about creating this entire thing? And what does M2 have to do with all of this? Those are our big questions. I windmilled my arms and did a few stretches to make sure, but everything seemed to be in order. I still hurt a bit, but I figured I could handle it. Shirabe and I split up to investigate the Colosseum. Y'all remember the Colosseum, right? It had a big sword at the end. And we're trying to pull it up to do it, and we all had to do it together, and it was big teamwork, and it was awesome. Yeah, there's only 2 of us. That's not gonna work. Looks like this is our only way out. It didn't take us long to meet up at the door the piglets had come through, which was unlocked. Alright, let's go. Are we going into the second one? Hallway on the other side of the door was pitch black. Right, there was a pitch black hallway before we went through all of this. Almost as if he'd read my mind, Shirabe held out his hand. We're gonna do the hand-holding thingy. It's a day early, but who cares? What? You might trip. Give me your hand. Wait, you wanna hold hands? Are you sure? Okay, if you really think that's the best idea. I guess you're getting to that age, huh? He laughed. Come on, I'm an old man. Not like you're gonna get all hot and bothered over me. Don't tempt me. Friggin' do it. You're getting all nervous for nothing. He smiled and took my hand. Okay. Okay, so he is gonna baby me forever. Whatever. I don't care. Okay. Get over it. He guided me carefully through the darkness of the hallway. I just feel kind of safe with him. My hands felt cozy inside his, and for some reason my heart began to beat faster. What's going on with me? Something wrong? Nothing. Yeah, well, don't fall down. Okay. He gripped my hand tight as we descended further into the darkness. He is working very hard to not be interested in me, so I'm just gonna have to keep pressing. What's this room? After several long minutes in the pitch black hallway, we came out into a large room. The only lights were trained on a circular stage in the center of the room. This place feels a little different. I think it's an arena. It's just like the first one, see? They're waiting for us. Right, we were fighting ourselves last time. This time not so much, so we're just gonna fight the bad guys the same time as last time. On the stage were more piglets, each one wearing gloves and shin guards. 3 of them this time. Piglets gestured for us to get up on stage. 3 against 2. Well, I was hoping to get beaten and electrocuted to death today. That's my catchphrase. I really was hoping to get beaten and electrocuted to death today. We only barely won last time. We were both still pretty exhausted too. Things weren't looking good. Piglets made a series of confrontational gestures. Shirabe sighed and helped me put my gloves on. Oh, right, I was thinking about these gloves. I think they only put out a shock when you're up on the stage. Nothing happened when I took yours off earlier, remember? So as we get up there, we need to make sure we don't touch each other. Just to be safe. Don't want to knock me out, right? Okay, I'll be careful. We nodded at one another and climbed up onto the stage. Just like before, the fight started in silence. Stay behind me, little lady. No need to take chances. Right! Shirabe moved in front of me and dropped into a fighting stance. The piglets circled around us and began closing in. There's nowhere for us to go. Before long, they had herded us into a single corner of the stage. This isn't gonna work. He tossed out a feint at one of the piglets, but they dodged it easily with a quick sidestep. Oh, that's just the beginning. That's the feint. Here comes the thunder. Shirabe threw out several more punches. None of them hit, but when one of the piglets took a larger step to dodge, another piglet moved out of the way. What was that? Looked like the piglet had been trying to avoid touching his companion. Let's get them to hit each other. That'd be cool. I started watching more closely and realized they seemed to be watching one another more closely. To keep their distance. They're having a hard time working together, especially after what that one piglet did. We'll just trap him into the corner of the stage. Alright, insight time. Explosive punch insight. This is a new one. Shirabe and I needed to remember not to touch each other's gloves. 3 against 1's a lot, even for Shirabe. Careful not to touch each other. The piglets surrounded us. We have the upper hand. They're not attacking. They keep watching each other for some reason, like when one of them dodged Shirabe, another... I think it's dodge, watching each other, and touch. It's got to be one of those. I just looked. It is touch, so it was very close to being wrong. Yay! New insight! Huh! Apparently there are new insights down each person's path. That's a new thing that I didn't know. Of course we weren't the only ones who have to be careful about not touching each other. The piglets can shock their buddies too. Kept my voice at a whisper. Something wrong? Piglets can get shocked by each other's gloves just like we can. I think that's why they're acting kind of weird. Why didn't I see it? Good job, little lady. Now, to the count of 3, I want you to book it to the right. I'm going to the left. Got it? Just trust me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and they're off. So we split, and then we'll surround them, and we'll just, pincer them inward towards each other. He didn't waste the opening. The moment he'd flanked them, he spun around, lowered himself into a tackling stance, and charged. Damn! One of the piglets reacted in time to throw out a kick, nicking Shirabe on the shoulder. But momentum was on his side. Shirabe barreled into the piglet that had attacked him like a freight train. The impact threw it into the other 2 piglets, and they collapsed like sparking dominoes. And I just come in there and just start poking the shit out of them. Double tap. They didn't move. It looked like their gloves and shin guards had touched, which had probably given them an extremely high voltage shock. We did it. Oh no. I ran over to Shirabe and he collapsed on the stage. You okay? Pulled off my gloves and shin guards and grabbed Shirabe's shoulder. They got in one hit, but this is nothing. Nothing, you're hurt. Come on, you need to lay down. Shirabe, no. Oh. I gently stopped him from trying to get up and laid his head down on my lap. I'll take care of you, Shirabe, don't worry. He let out a long, relieved sigh. I'm so glad you're okay. Yeah, kinda thought we were done for there. We both smiled. That's super sweet. Then suddenly his face twisted in pain. What's wrong? Nothing, just hurts a little, that's all. I saw his hands shake as he pressed it to his leg. Sorry about this. Before he could protest, I reached down and pulled his boot off. I gasped. The foot underneath the boot was swollen in an ugly purplish red. That's the hospital injury. Oh my gosh. I noticed him favoring the leg during the first fight, but I never imagined. How on earth are you walking on this? Very carefully. You can't do this to yourself. Suddenly I felt like crying. Can't believe he's been like this the whole time and never said anything. I'm fine, really. Journalists actually get into strapes all the time. Heck, I've covered wars before. Thanks, Frank West. But my point here is that if things had gone pear-shaped earlier, then you'd have been pretty bad in a pretty bad way, and I apologize for that. I'm real sorry for dragging you into this mess. You've been apologizing to me since yesterday. Stop doing that, please. What are you saying? It was my decision to come help you. So whatever happens, I chose to put myself in the situation, not you. You don't need to be apologizing for something you didn't do. He stared at me for several long seconds, his mouth twisted in a sort of surprised grin. Damn, I guess they make high school kids pretty mature these days, huh? Almost felt like I was talking to an adult there. Really? Yeah, you kind of threw me for a loop, little lady. Well, it sure is nice to feel like he thinks I'm not just a kid, even though he says that I'm still just a kid. It looks like those piglets were it, so I think we can take a break here for now. I think that might be wise. He let out a relaxed sigh and twined his fingers together over his chest. Don't rest too long, though, or else we'll miss 2 entire games, which will basically let everyone else down. Any chance you remember that story I was telling you about earlier? There's a little more. The story I've been after for 12 years. Hogstein brought it up when he was talking about telling Mai what kind of person her father was. Let's get into it. We've got more. Between the fights. Just wanted her to know what kind of person her father was. You haven't told her what you did to all those poor grieving families. Right, back to the grieving families.